Hi, I'm Lily Cameron.
And I'm Doug Cameron.
Welcome to Design Build Diaries. We're going to show you how we build healthy, high-performance homes from concept to completion. We brought a friend today. Ready to go check out the project, Dakota? All right. All right, so we are here at our Chalet Chloe project to show you the next installment in Design Build Diaries of what has happened in the last month. We've made a ton of progress on this project. And Doug, do you want to talk about what stage we're in?
Totally, guys. So last time y'all visited with us, there was a house here. We actually found out that house was over 100 years old. So when we talked about it in the video, it was a little bit less. But yeah, it ended up being like a century-old house. That house is long gone, and now we've put in a ton of work, and we've got everything that you see right now. Basically, we did excavation. We did backfill, where we put a bunch of new fill material that's like a road base, compacts and dries much harder, much better for the foundation. And then we are now placing our forms of our foundation. And then we're trenching beams that you can see where all the concrete's gonna go to make everything really strong. And then on this one, we've got a pool, and we've got something cool and unique going on with the timing of the pool, so we'll get into that in just a little bit.
From the last month, we are now at a state where we've got, we're prepping for foundation. We've done a ton of excavation, but now that all of the form boards are up, you can actually get a really good view for the layout of this house. So here I am, I'm actually walking into the front entryway, beautiful arched entryway. Now we've got this entry. I'm actually in the office over here.
Door's kind of right here.
Office over here, yeah. So entry and office, and you walk in and you're gonna be able to see straight back in this house. So you'll walk through a beautiful entryway and walk into living room. So you've got a living room situation. This is where we're gonna have a cantilevered fireplace that will come out all throughout here. You walk into the living room, there's a beautiful island and kitchen and mud and utility back here. You've got two guest rooms downstairs where if you walk this way, walk in and you've got a guest room here and a bathroom, and then you've got another guest room over here, and this is actually going to be a pool bathroom, so you can walk out and directly, have access into the pool and a bathroom here. In terms of, in just a month, we've gotten to a point where massive excavation has taken place, massive dirt work has taken place, form boards, lots of different city permitting stuff is, been ongoing, and we're getting ready next week for plumbing rough, rebar, and then, early after that, pouring the actual foundation.
I love it. So I'm gonna get geeky and technical for a quick spurt for y'all. So with regards to
Doug,
our
you've never
beams
done that
here,
before.
yeah, I'm lying or changing. So with regards to the beams here, this is what is being dug out where our concrete footing, that's what a concrete footing is called, right? And it looks like a foot, bam, going into the earth, and it surrounds these pads. These are called building pads. And these are compacted and strong as hell. They look like Arizona or something real rocky and mountainous. And they're gonna do a super good job with dealing with moisture control in relationship to your foundation, because they're not gonna wanna heave or anything, because they're not gonna take on a lot of moisture. So this is what highways are built with. This stuff's called road base. When we do end up running our poly, because y'all won't see that before next month, because we'll probably have this thing poured next time we shoot. One big technical note, again, kind of building science related, is to stop that capillary action by running your poly. All this is gonna have poly. We're gonna use at least a 15 mil poly, which is much thicker. It's gonna take a lot longer to degrade. You're gonna wrap it, and you're gonna wanna run it into the bottom of your footings, and you can do a little overlap and an overlap so that it can move a little bit, but you're gonna want a footing there, and that will stop capillary action that will wanna rise up from the earth down here and into that house. So that's a really good pointer for all y'all.
So Doug, what happens if you don't do that?
If you don't do that, then moisture from the earth wants to shoot up like a sponge and it can rise like, I mean, hundreds of feet is a reality in terms of how high moisture can climb upwards. Imagine if you had a paper towel and this was wet right here and you stuck the paper towel in there, what's gonna happen? The moisture is just gonna rise up. So we wanna stop that capillary drive, because that ultimately will create moisture in our foundation that is gonna wanna rise up through the next element that is stopping it and prohibiting it. And in this case, it's gonna be our floors. And we don't want to do that, right? So we do this. I'm always a big stickler on this poly to do the real thick poly, because if you don't, I'm just thinking about like, damn, am I building a 30-year house or am I building a 130-year house, right? I'm like, dude, I'm building for centuries over here. I don't want to do that decade shit, please. So always 15 mil poly minimum. With this pool, guys, we got super on point with this pool with all of our planning. And we got this pool dug so stinking fast. It's almost like a blip on the radar, like it never happened, because this pool has been dug in just a few days. We coordinated with the entire team. We had all this stuff on the permit from day one. It was
you
on
can
the
see
site
how
plan.
deep this pool is.
It was approved. Yeah, and she's looking at all she's looking at all the rebar right now, right? Another big deal for y'all is make sure that you stake and flag your property, like your building envelope and the entire footprint of the building, and that you don't put that on the pool guys or on the foundation crew. And all that takes, y'all, is just to go get your surveyor, schedule them, have them come out and say, hey buddy, please stake and flag every corner for me. And they'll use these things and these little kind of frilly plastic things that they put in the ground to show you. So this whole thing was done. We didn't have to change anything. We didn't have to talk to a client about anything. And we knew that everything was in its exact right spot. The biggest thing
First pass.
Right, the biggest risk on that, on why we do that, is your side yard setback. You wanna be 5 feet from the edge of your property line at a minimum. So you can see 5 feet's right here, pool's right there, we're good, everything's great.
So we actually had a really interesting dilemma with that 5 yard side yard setback.
5 feet.
5 feet, excuse me.
I always do that same thing because it's a side yard setback. I always want to say 5 yards.
So right over here where this fireplace is, so the fireplace was actually we were going to pour foundation, and
right here.
And interestingly enough, you know, the code, the way the city code reads, it's, you know, it says the chimney and flue can be in the side yard setback, but it is not really clear as to whether or not, you know, the foundation, the box that it sits on can go into the side yard setback. So we called out to the architect and said, hey, you know, this is actually in the 5 yard side yard setback. And, you know, the architect followed up with the city several times, could not get a clear answer. So our decision that we made with the client was instead of doing something that could possibly get us in trouble later or could possibly, you know, cause a major issue, we are just going to cantilever. And actually, so that's, you know, all parties working together came up with a really cool design concept to cantilever the fireplace over, so it's not going to be part of the foundation, so nothing in the foundation goes into that side yard setback. Client's happy, you know, we're happy. We don't have to worry about that getting flagged for inspection and delaying our project.
In addition to that, guys, I want y'all to understand about the trees and the half critical root zone. So basically, anytime you're around a protected tree, which I believe is 19-inch diameter or more, and you do that by measuring the base of the tree, then you need to protect basically it's similar to the canopy, right? The roots are always similar. So about half of the canopy is usually half of the CRV. It's always notated on your plans. And over here where we got the pool plumbing coming in from the pool over here, watch your step there, over there and here, and we're wrapping around this tree root zone, we've got to be super careful right here not to nip any roots. So I had to communicate to everybody. I had to over communicate. Do not mess up my tree roots on my protected pecan over here. And everybody understand, everybody got the memo. Where we came in with the pool equipment too, and pool equipment's interesting with the plumbing, you don't have to have fall. So we're dropping down beneath this concrete footing 6 inches. Everywhere else, the pool the pool plumbing equipment can be like 17 inches beneath the ground. So those are a few nuances. You see all our good site protection, our environmental protection. We've got our silt fence. We've got some mulch socks. So we've done all that. That's part of your initial environmental protection, and your tree protection, obviously, you see behind me, where you want to get 8 to 10 inches of mulch within the half CRZ. Outside of that, guys, we've done a really fabulous job with our team here of keeping momentum, moving fast, moving strong, moving with intention, and we haven't been delayed or hit up with too many changes. But before we get off this video, speak about some of the changes that we have experienced to date on this project and how we're handling them.
So we meet every week with our client, and with this, we actually had a meeting with the architect as well last week, and the client wanted to add a few floor plugs. Well, getting ready, we're actually about to pour the foundation. So if, you know, she had made that call 2 weeks later, like, it would have been too late. Luckily, we were able to accommodate that particular change. But for her, she actually has to know exactly where her furniture is going to go. So having the complete design of her house as well as all of her furniture layout was critical for something that, you know, is going to impact a very, very, very early stage in construction. So it's so important to know all of the domino effects of things, and that's why we, you know, continue to meet with our client every week, setting expectations, being really clear on here's the next milestones, here's everything that has to be locked in. You know, we prefer to have as much locked in in advance as we can, but, you know, in a custom home process, we are agile to some extent. She also asked, you know, if she could move some of the HVAC equipment out of the closet that was downstairs so that she could have a little bit more closet space. And, you know, the architect was able to figure out a way where we could do that. But for us, that was actually a big change that impacted our entire mechanical design that was already done. So we've now got to change, you know, our mechanical design and our ductwork and our, you know, our HVAC locations and, you know, chase sizes and all of that to accommodate that, which is, you know, we're actually able to do because we're in this process. But some things, you know, there were a couple structural changes that the client wanted to make that that would entail a 3-month delay to her project. So ultimately it was, hey, being able to articulate the risk reward of everything, setting clear expectations and meeting and communicating clearly is so important. So, you know, those things kind of got canceled, but ultimately we're able to push through and keep things on track and on the timeline that the client wants.
Yeah, and guys, this is a juggling act. I mean, right? Because with all the dominoes falling, like she mentioned, with pretty much every decision, there are very few decisions that don't impact another decision. With the HVAC stuff, for example, it's kind of easy to be like, Doug, why do you care that much? That's going to come later. Well, guys, one of the critical things that we're trying to always get ahead of in projects nowadays, especially with delays that we've been experiencing in the last few years, are trusses and windows and doors. So we accomplished our window and door order. We got that all out of the way, knocked out. That's done, and we're expecting that can take months, right? So super good to get your windows and doors done. Your framer is always going to be real happy to hear that the windows and doors have been ordered. The other big one with regards to the frame that's going to come and hit you like a ton of bricks if you're not ready for it are the trusses. So in this case, it's the web floor joists, which are also referred to as trusses, as well as some ceiling trusses up on the second story. And so we need to make sure that those are going to allow for our ductwork to run where we want it to. And usually those start with a large center opening, and you can run the center of your trunk lines there, but you can always maneuver that and manipulate that and coordinate with your truss engineer. So anyway, on this one, long story short, we have not ordered the trusses yet because we got impacted by that HVAC design change. So now we're having to do some new due diligence, redesign the HVAC with the new plan. And then as soon as I get that updated plan, I'm going to order those trusses and have those here hopefully within the next month and a half.
All right. So let's keep rocking and rolling and see how far we can get for the next round.
Yeah, totally. So next month we'll follow up with another video. I don't know, hopefully we have a finished foundation by that time and some other good insights to share with y'all. But guys, thanks for tuning in to Design Build Diaries. We've really enjoyed it, enjoyed your company. And y'all come back now, you hear? Adios, amigos.
Adios.